Cats don't actually hate dogs. So why might your cat still refuse to go near a perfectly friendly one? Some cats keep their distance the moment they see a dog. Others play with them, sleep beside them, and even seek them out every day. So what makes the difference? In this video, we'll explore what science has discovered about relationships between cats and dogs, and the subtle signs that can reveal whether your cat is simply tolerating a dog or actually choosing to be around them. Want to know if they really get along? Watch the cat. Picture a perfectly ordinary evening. Your dog is lying in the middle of the living room. Your cat walks in. The dog looks up, wags their tail, then settles back down. No barking, no chasing, no aggression at all. Watch the dog and everything seems perfect. But if you really want to know how well this relationship is going, there's one animal you should pay especially close attention to: the cat. Do they walk in like they normally would, or stop at the doorway? Do they stay, or quietly turn around and leave? Because a dog being completely comfortable around a cat doesn't necessarily mean the cat feels the same way. And science has uncovered something pretty surprising. In a 2018 study of 748 households with both cats and dogs, cat-related factors were better predictors of owner-reported relationship quality than dog-related factors. In particular, the cat's discomfort with the dog was a stronger predictor than the dog's discomfort with the cat. That doesn't mean the cat alone determines the entire relationship, but it gives us an important clue. Don't just ask whether the dog is friendly toward the cat. Ask whether the cat actually feels comfortable with the dog being there. And discomfort doesn't always look like hissing or swatting. Sometimes it's simply the choice not to be there. That's incredibly easy to miss. You may think your cat and dog are getting along just fine, while your cat has quietly been choosing to keep their distance every single day. But here's where things get interesting. Put two different cats in front of the same dog. One may be completely relaxed. The other may want to leave. Same dog, so why can two cats feel so differently about them? Not every cat reacts to dogs the same way. Two cats can live with the same dog and still feel very differently about that dog. The dog walks into the room. One cat barely notices. They keep resting. The other lifts their head, watches, and waits to see what the dog does next. Same dog, same room, but not the same sense of safety. You may know the dog is harmless, but your cat isn't reacting to what you know. They're reacting to how safe the situation feels to them, and that feeling isn't the same for every cat. Research into feline personality has found relatively stable differences in traits such as boldness and fearfulness. So the same movement from a dog might barely register with one cat, while being enough to keep another watching closely. That doesn't make the second cat difficult, and the more relaxed cat isn't setting some standard the other one needs to meet. Because safety isn't just about what's happening around your cat. It's also about how your cat interprets what's happening. So why does one cat learn to see a dog as something ordinary, while another remains cautious? Personality may be part of the answer, but another part may have started taking shape long before the dog in front of them today ever came along. Your cat's relationship with dogs may have started before you realized it. Cats and dogs don't speak the same body language, but when they live together, something remarkable can happen. They can begin learning how to read each other. A movement, posture, or approach doesn't always carry the same meaning for both species, and over time, a cat may begin learning the difference. When the dog is simply passing by, when the dog wants to interact, and when it's better to create a little more distance. Research on cats and dogs living together found that pairs introduced at a younger age tended to have more amicable relationships, and also appeared better able to understand the other species' body signals. So a cat who's lived with dogs before may have learned much more than, "This big animal isn't going to hurt me." They may have learned how to predict what that animal is about to do. And that gives us a very different way to understand a cat who's never lived with dogs. Even when the dog in front of them is completely friendly, the dog may still be difficult for the cat to read. Not because the cat has decided dogs are the enemy. They may simply not know what to expect yet. In other words, familiarity may do more than make dogs less frightening. It may make them easier to understand. But the past doesn't completely determine what happens next. Once a dog enters your cat's life, the two can still begin learning about each other. And this is where even a loving owner can accidentally make things worse. Because one of the most natural things you might do to help your cat make friends with a dog may be exactly what makes your cat want to get farther away. A friendship can't be forced. The dog is lying quietly on the sofa. Your cat is watching from a few feet away. You know the dog is gentle, so you pick up your cat and bring them closer. "It's okay, go say hello." But as soon as the distance closes, your cat's body tenses. They twist in your arms, trying to pull away. Their ears flatten. You hold on for just a few more seconds because the dog really isn't doing anything. Then your cat starts struggling harder. Maybe they hiss. Maybe they scratch to get free. Finally, they jump down and run out of the room. From your point of view, it doesn't make much sense. The dog never even touched them. So why did your cat react so strongly? Because something more important than distance just changed. Your cat was no longer in control of that distance. Scientific guidelines on feline welfare and environmental needs emphasize the importance of choice, control, safe places, and the ability to avoid interactions a cat finds uncomfortable. And here's the part that sounds almost backward. If you want your cat to willingly move closer to your dog, sometimes you have to give them the freedom to move farther away. A cat tree, a high shelf, an escape route the dog can't block. These things don't make your cat love the dog. They do something simpler. They give your cat back the choice. Now your cat can watch from a distance. They can come down. They can move a little closer. Or they can walk away. And if they walk away, that doesn't necessarily mean you've failed. Because a relationship can't truly be chosen if one of the animals isn't allowed to say, "Not yet." And when your cat finally feels comfortable enough that they no longer need to leave, the first sign of progress may be so small that you completely miss it. A good relationship takes time to develop. On the first day, your cat leaves the room every time the dog walks in. A week later, they start staying a little longer. A few weeks after that, the dog can walk right past the sofa without your cat even getting up. Day by day, the change may seem almost invisible. But look back at where they started. Something that once put your cat instantly on alert is becoming part of everyday life. Because a good relationship doesn't necessarily come from one perfect introduction. It can be built through ordinary moments that keep ending safely. The dog walks into the room and doesn't chase. They pass the cat and keep going. They lie down nearby and nothing bad happens. And each time, your cat learns something important. I'm starting to know what to expect when this dog is around. Research on cats and dogs living together suggests that how they're introduced and how long they've lived together are associated with the quality of their interactions. Gradual introductions have also been associated with calmer behaviors in studies of dogs introduced into homes with cats. That's why time isn't simply about waiting. It's giving your cat repeated chances to discover that the dog can be predictable. What once felt uncertain gradually becomes familiar. And then one day, your cat may do more than simply stop avoiding the dog. They may choose to move closer on their own. But when that happens, how can you tell whether your cat is simply getting used to the dog or actually starting to choose their company? When your cat doesn't just accept the dog, but starts choosing them. One evening, your dog is asleep on the sofa. Your cat walks over from across the room. They jump up, take a few steps, and lie down right beside the dog. The dog briefly looks over, then settles back down. Your cat stays. If this same cat was leaving the room whenever the dog appeared a few months ago, this isn't just a cute moment. Something has changed. At first, progress may simply mean your cat no longer avoids the dog. They can rest with the dog nearby without constantly watching them. That's acceptance. But then your cat begins closing the distance on their own. They approach without being called. They stay without being held there. And sometimes, they initiate the interaction. Research on cats and dogs living together has documented friendly behaviors such as greeting, playing, resting near each other, and sometimes grooming. No single behavior proves, "My cat loves my dog." But together, they can suggest the relationship has moved beyond simply avoiding conflict. Your cat is beginning to choose how they interact with the dog. Earlier, distance helped them feel safe. But with repeated safe experiences, that distance may no longer feel as necessary. And then one day, your cat chooses to walk over and lie beside the dog. Not because you put them there. They came over on their own. Maybe they'll eventually sleep together. Maybe they'll play together. Or maybe they'll simply become comfortable sharing the same space. What matters isn't whether they become best friends. It's that the cat who once chose distance has now begun to choose closeness. So maybe cats never really hated dogs in the first place. They may simply need time to understand what the dog in front of them means in their world. Some cats may need only a few days. Others may need months. And some may always prefer to keep a little distance. That doesn't mean the relationship has failed. Because what matters isn't whether your cat and dog end up cuddling together like the ones you see online. It's whether they can live together feeling safe, comfortable, and free to make their own choices. And if one day your cat decides to move a little closer to your dog, remember that they made that choice on their own. So what about your cat and dog? What was the moment that made you realize they had finally started accepting each other? Tell us their story in the comments.